In-ear headphones already do a pretty good job at blocking out all the outside noises and letting you listen to your music in a more isolated experience. So it seems almost crazy to bother implementing active noise cancellation in a pair of TWS buds. I must admit that I was skeptical at first, but now that I've tried them for a bit, I'm actually remarkably impressed. These are the Edifier NB2 Pros, and this is my review of them. Let me give you a rundown of the key features. These are TWS or truly wireless buds that come in this rather interesting charging case, specifically because this is just plastic, but it has what almost feels like a leather texture to it, and I must admit, it genuinely feels more premium in the hand than most other sort of smooth plastic cases. As for the buds themselves, they're a pretty unique design. They have your standard silicone ear tips connected to what is a sort of large bulbous section, and then off of that juts a sort of semi-rectangular shape that, at least when I put them in my ears, almost resembles those early Bluetooth hands-free headsets. The external face of that protruding section is silver, but you can get the inner sections, including the silicone ear tip and the case, in either the black that you see here, the one that I have, or in a more light cream. Each headphone has a 10mm diaphragm and dual microphones to support its active noise cancellation tech. They even have tiny little infrared receivers or sensors to detect when you've put the earbuds in or taken them out of your ears. By default, what will happen is when you take them out, it will pause your music, admittedly with a full 2.5 second delay, and when you put them back in, it will play it also with a 2.5 second delay. You can use their app to change that setting, so you can have it just pause as you take them out, or but not play when you put them in, or turn the feature off entirely. The buds are also IP54 rated, meaning that they're effectively splash proof. They're not suited for full submersion or direct water jets, so say don't take them swimming, but you can wear them out and about, and if you get caught in the rain, it's not a big deal, nor is you sweating on them in the gym going to be a big problem. Battery life is listed as up to 32 hours, but that includes both the battery life from the earbuds themselves and from the battery life that you can gain from using the charging case. That is also the figure without active noise cancellation on. So with active noise cancellation on, you get 7 hours of listening per headphone, plus an extra 18 hours through charging in the case. Or if you have ANC off, you get up to 9 hours of listening from each headphone, and you get 23 hours of charging worth from the case. It takes about 15 minutes of charging in the case to get 2 hours of listening, or about a full hour to go from dead to 100%. The case takes about 2 hours to charge via its USB-C port on the back, although you do have a handy little indicator LED right next to it. If you're interested in the capacities, each headphone has a 60 mAh battery, and the case has a further 500. Each earbud's outer face is a touch surface, and each headphone has their own set of commands and controls. If you double tap on the left one, you will switch between the active noise cancellation modes, and a triple tap will change the sound modes. On the right hand side, if you double tap on that one, you will play or pause your music, and a triple tap will skip to the next song. It is worth noting though that there is no volume control based on the headphones themselves, so if you do want to control the volume, you'll have to use your phone, and there's also no controls for, say, skip back songs, or even activate your Google Assistant or Siri. It's also probably worth noting that despite these headphones being able to work independently, as in you can put one of them in the case and the other one will keep playing, or swap them out, use both, put one away, whatever, when you do put one away, the controls are locked to each headphone. So if you only have the left one in, you have no control over play or pause, and likewise if you only have the right one in, then you don't have any control over the ambient sound modes or active noise cancellation. Not that you can enable active noise cancellation with only one headphone in. You do have to have both in your ears for that to be enabled. When it comes to those two modes that you can cycle through on the left earbud, the active noise cancellation modes offer 3 settings that it cycles through. Obviously active noise cancellation on and off, but also ambient sound. Unfortunately, this is a mode that I personally wouldn't bother enabling because their implementation of it leaves a lot to be desired. Essentially, what it does is pipe external sound in via its microphones and play them through its speaker, but in reality, all it seems to do is amplify external sounds significantly, such that even the low hum of the computers that are in this room or where I was listening downstairs gets frustratingly loud and detract from any listening experience you might have, and also makes a lot of sounds like a knock on the door almost painful to listen to with how sharp and loud it can sound. As for the listening modes, the triple tap on the left earbud, you have 3 options there as well. You have the normal mode, spatial audio, and game mode, where spatial audio is essentially their digital surround sound, where I like their quote, they apply panoramic 3D technology to your audio. Essentially, like I said, it's digital surround, and well, it does have a bit of an interesting effect. I would liken it to, instead of the sound being clearly just from a speaker, it sounded more like it was coming from a bubble in my ears, which wasn't quite the full effect, but either way, it did have some effect. It just also had a bit of a, I suppose, bug, where it seemed to pick a single frequency and play it as a constant tone throughout an entire track, which really detracted any benefits that it could give and means that I probably wouldn't ever use that mode. As for the game mode, that essentially is a low latency option. They claim that it gives up to, or I suppose as low as 80 milliseconds of latency, which in the PC world sounds like a lot, but as I understand, especially with Android phones, that's actually not too bad. Ideally it would be lower, but for a Bluetooth headphone, it's there, and there doesn't seem to be a significant loss in quality or other features from enabling that mode, so it's there if you want it. Lastly, on the feature side of things, I'm very pleased with how they've set these headphones up to connect to your phone. A large number of these TWS buds connect to your phone as 2 separate devices, a left and a right headset, and while I can understand the reasoning for that, it's not ideal, and they often act in a primary and secondary format where your phone technically connects to one and it daisy chains to the other, but that means that if you lose connection or the battery runs out on the primary, you then have to manually reconnect the secondary, and that can be frustrating. With these though, these connect as a single device, and they seem to be pretty smart in how they choose which headphone to be playing audio through, and you can very easily swap between them. You can take both out to start with, and then put one away or put the other, swap them out, and it all generally keeps working. So that's the features, but what's it like to actually use them, listen to them? Well, I would describe the audio quality as fair. They're not the best that I've ever heard, but they're far, far from the worst. I would say they offer an average or slightly above average listening experience. The bass is definitely more punctuated than neutral, and the high frequencies can feel a little harsh and almost uncomfortable, especially in higher volumes. But for the majority of my listening experience, I had a decent time with them, and for the average listener, I think you'll enjoy having a pair of these. Comfort and fitment wise, these fit perfectly fine in my ears. They weren't, obtrusive or uncomfortable in pretty much any way. I could happily wear them for extended sessions of either, just commuting or, working at my desk, for example. That's actually quite nice just to stick some headphones in and be programming or editing, whatever else. Or even working out, they fit in my ears and held in relatively well. I would say that for more vigorous exercise like running, I wouldn't recommend them. I could see them falling out relatively easily with that sort of exercise, but in my case with just some weights, it was plenty fine. I would expect that for your average commute to work, especially if you go on public transport, these would be plenty fine, both from an audio quality and a comfort and fitment experience. But since we're talking about public transport, I should probably mention the active noise cancellation mode. Like I said at the start, I was skeptical when I first tried it because obviously when you put an in-ear headphone in your ear canal, it mostly blocks it all out anyway, so you already get a decent level of sound isolation. But when you enable the active noise cancellation mode, it's another level of quiet and isolated listening, and while there is an ever so slight audio quality hit by enabling it, the added benefit of isolation, especially in a more noisy environment, greatly outweighs that slight cost and quality. The one thing that does make the experience of using these more of a pain is their app and the bugs. For example, the feature I was talking about where it will detect if you've removed or inserted each earbud, that feature takes almost exactly 2.5 seconds either way, whether you're putting them in or taking them out to pause or play your music. That will have you reaching for your phone to start playing because you're not sure that it will do it itself. That really should be a lot lower, at least for putting it back in. I could perhaps understand taking it out, but again, it's not fantastic. And on top of that, there are also a few bugs that can happen where if you are taking one out of your ear to put it in the case to charge it, for example, then it will stop and pause your music as you take it out before you can get it back in the case. And sometimes you'll have to take the other earbud out of your ear and put it back in to start playing the music, as it won't bother detecting that the other earbud is now charging in the case, and so you should resume whatever you're doing with the other one. I did also have it where I put one of the headphones back in the case and then went to play my music again, and it refused to play through the headphones. My phone still said that it was connected via Bluetooth, but it was only playing out of my phone speakers, and so I had to disconnect from Bluetooth and then reconnect again for that to work. And then there is the app, which on Android at least stays open 24/7. No matter if you don't have the headphones connected, if you don't even have Bluetooth or location services on, and even if you close it in the app tray, it's still open and running in your notifications panel. And the only way to close it, because you can't close it from inside their app, is to go into your phone's settings menu and force stop it from there. I should make it clear that you don't actually need their app installed. All of the functionality, including active noise cancellation and spatial audio, all work and can be controlled with the headphones themselves without the app installed. You will need to install the app if you want to control the setting for what it does when you take them out of your ears and put them back in, or if you want to change things like the tap sensitivity, but on the whole, you don't actively need it installed. If you do choose to install it, it works mostly okay. I found that having the app installed and connected actually eased some of the bugs that I was having with the headphones on their own, although you do have some, let's say, quirks and features. When you go to the settings to change a lot of them, you'll see what looks like I would say like iOS 5 of the scrolling selection boxes. It's kind of weird to see. And on top of that, there are a few little details that really make this seem a lot more DIY and homemade than a professional product. Things like if you want to change the audio mode from, say, standard to spatial audio to games, well, they didn't bother to capitalize the G in games, but they did on spatial audio and on standard, and it's a little detail like that that really shouldn't be there. Now, that's a bit of a nitpick, but if I'm honest, there's a bit more of a worse nitpick I could have, which is that if you look at the bottom bar, the word headphones and discovery are clipped. The little box that they have designed those words to fit in is clearly too small for those words. And while I'm sure that in the original language of this app, it probably fits just fine, as those characters are often a lot smaller, in English, it physically doesn't fit. You cannot read the word headphones without knowing that that's what it says in the first place. And that's a little thing that really should have been checked at least once before they published this app. And this isn't a new app for these headphones, this is the standard Edifier app, so please Edifier, also fix that. So, Edifier's NB2 Pro. Are they worth spending your cold hard cash on? Well, overall, they are a pretty decent experience. If you regularly do a noisy commute where some added sound isolation from the active noise cancellation would be a significant benefit for you, then yeah, I don't see why not. You can use their app, and it's a little bit quirky, let's say, but it works mostly fine, as do the headphones, and the audio quality is a decent enough listening experience that I wouldn't be concerned about using them regularly. The battery life seems pretty decent as well. They do feel fairly premium in the hand, especially with this really weird leather texture to the plastic. It's definitely strange. Buzz, overall, they're not too bad. If you're a more discerning listener, a bit more of an audiophile, then I would probably give these a pass, as even Edifier themselves make a number of other more audio-focused headphones rather than more everyday and multi-function. But on the whole, they're not bad. They're priced relatively well in the TWS market, and so if you do want to pick up a pair, I will leave a link to it in the description down below. That is an Amazon affiliate link that will take you to your local Amazon store, where you can see pricing when and where you watch this, because it can and does vary. But with that said, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. What do you think of these headphones? Are they a pair you'd pick up yourself, or would you rather go with a higher quality pair instead, maybe something cheaper, or maybe some over-ears? Feel free to let me know in those comments down below. If you want to stay up to date on all of these new videos, then do hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification icon. If you want to support the channel, there are a load of ways you can do that. You can do it directly through the YouTube join button, where you get access to our My Name in Discord chat, sponsor-free videos, and some cool emojis to use in the comments and on our weekly live streams. If you'd prefer to support on Patreon instead and still get access to our Discord, then check out the link in the description below. Or you can pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one. This is the RTX 2060 I designed in Blender myself, or there's a load of other designs to choose from. And there's a load of affiliate links in the description as well. If you're buying from Overclock UK, there's a link for that. Or if you want a VPN, there's a couple of options down there. Humble Bundle, Streamlabs OBS, and a whole lot of other stuff, so do please take a look. Otherwise, there will be plenty of other videos for you to check out. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.